Hello everyone, and welcome to this video titled Evaluate Expressions with One or More Variables. In this video, I'm going to be doing several examples taken directly from the practice of the website ck12.org. It's a website where you can do plenty of, they have mathematical books and resources and practice for free. So here I am in their extended practice for evaluating expressions with one or more variables. And I'm just going to be going through 4 or 5 of these. I don't want to do all of it. I'll leave, practicing to you. And please, if when I start a new example, pause the video, and try to work it out yourself before watching me do it. All right, so here we're asked to evaluate the expression 3 times x plus 2 times y, given that x is equivalent to the number 10 and y is equal to 5. So I'm going to go down here to the scratch pad. We can do the expression 3x plus 2y. So that's 3x. Oops. Sorry, let me clear that. Start this over. So yeah, so we had 3x. My apologies for the poor use of the pen tool here. 3x plus 2y. And we were told that x was equivalent to 10 and y equivalent to 5. So I make the substitution, put in 10 for x, so 3 times x becomes 3 times the number 10. And if I were you, I would get in the habit of putting parentheses around things that you replace. So the x is replaced by 10, I put parentheses around it. And then plus, and then 2 times the number y, which was, 5. So now I have 3 times 10 plus 2 times 5. And remember your order of operations. Right? You always do multiplication before addition. So from left to right, the first thing I see is 3 times 10. So that's 30. Then I'm not doing the addition yet, right? Because we still have now this 2 times 5 in the next term. 2 times 5 is 10. And now I've performed the multiplication from left to right, and now I will go from left to right and perform the addition, and there's only one addition to perform. 30 plus 10 is 40, right? So this is it right here. The value of the expression when x is 10 and y is 5 is 40. So that's what I'll select up here. That was choice C. Check it out, right? You're told if you're correct or not, and if you're incorrect, they just throw some more problems at you until you build up your skill level. All right, so let's move on to the next example. All right, so same thing, we're given 5 times x squared, right, x to the second power, divided by, and then 6 times z cubed, where x has a value of -1, z has a value of -3. So once again, I'll open up the scratch pad down here, and we're given 5 times, it's in parentheses there, right? 5 times x squared divided by, and then 6 times, and then they had the z in parentheses, right? So I'll write it that way, z to the third power. The value of x was, I believe, -1. Just double check that again. And z was -3. Value of z was -3. So once again, I'm going to just be replacing the values x and z, right, with -1 and -3 respectively. they already have the parentheses there, so I don't need to write another set of parentheses when I make my replacement. So this is 5, times, and then x is -1 to the second divided by, and then 6 times, and then the value of z is -3, and that's being cubed. All right. Now, when you're evaluating an expression that involves a fraction like this, this division symbol separates, the numerator from denominator. So work the numerator first, work the denominator second, and then divide or simplify the fraction if necessary. So I'm going to work with simplifying the numerator first. Remember, you do powers before multiplication, your order of operations, right? Exponents before multiplication and division. So in the numerator, we have 5 times, right? A little dot for times. And then -1 to the second power, right? That's -1 times -1. That's +1. All right, and then we'll have the denominator again. Now, 5 times 1, after I've done the exponents, I'll do the multiplication. That's just 5, right? So simplifying the numerator gives me 5. And I'll do it separately with the denominator here, right? We have 6 times, and then -3 to the third power is -3 times -3 times -3. All right, so -3 times -3 is +9, and then that times -3 is -27. All right, and +6 times -27 would be negative. You can do this with a little distribution, 20 and 7. 6 times 20 is 120, plus, and then, 6 times 7 is 42. 120 plus 42 is 162. So it's -162. And finally, at the end, this is fine. 5 divided by -162. It's very often you won't see a negative sign in the lead of the denominator in the beginning of the denominator of a fraction. So 5 divided by a -162, right? Positive divided by negative will be negative. So they can you throw that negative sign out in front. So this is -5 160-seconds, right? 5 divided by 162. And 5 in the numerator and 162 in the denominator, right? Those don't have any common factors. 5 does not go into 162 evenly. So this is as simple as that fraction would get. All right, so the value of this expression when x is -1, z is -3 is -5 160-seconds. Right. So of the choices, that is once again C. Let's check it out. Wonderful. All right, so again, I'll do about half of these. So let's go to example 3. All right, so now this one's not multiple choice here, right? We have to enter our own answer. You have t to the 5th power is the expression, and we're evaluating it, finding the number it's equal to when t is replaced by the number 3. All right, so again down here, scratch pad, that t to the 5th power when the value of t is 3. So I replace t with 3, right? So that's 3 to the 5th power. And remember what it means to raise the powers, right? This is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, right? You have 5 factors of 3. Okay, and then you can work it 2 at a time if you want. 3 times 3 is 9. Then times 3 times 3 times 3, right? And then, 9 times 3 is 27. And then you still have the 2 factors of 3 left, right? 3 times 3. Then 27 times 3 is 60 plus 21, right? So that's 81 times 3. And then finally, 3 times 81, that's 240 plus 3, that's 243. All right, so the final value here, 243. 43, and that's what we're being asked to actually enter. So I go into in the bar there, enter 243. Let's check it out. Great. All right. I like the little positive messages here too. What a feeling. Keep believing. All right. All right. So next. All right, so another one where we're asked to just enter the answer ourselves, not multiple choice. So, pull up the scratch pad. We have 6 times x, right? When they're touching, it's just times multiplication, right? And the value of x is 8. Right, so we have 6 times x. The value of x is 8. All right, so I replace x with 8. So this is 6 times 8. And this should be something, from your multiplication tables, right? Hopefully you've drilled that in your head over and over again since childhood. 6 times 8 is 48. And that's the value of that expression. Easy enough. So I go here, enter 48, and check it out. Great. All right, so I'll do just one more of these, right? Hopefully you're getting the hang of what's going on here. You have expressions with variables, and you have to plug in values for those variables. So here, this final example I'm going to do is one where an expression is not given to us. We have to create our own expression and then plug in certain numbers. So we saw this in the section before this in this ck12.org Algebra 1 text, where you read through your statements and you identify the quantities being mentioned, right? You column some variables, you assign some variables to those quantities, and using keywords and information from the reading, you can set up expressions or equations or inequalities. Here we're going to set up an expression. So we're reading John's cellular provider, called Best Cellular, charges a flat rate of $30 per month for a cellular data plan, plus $5 for each megabyte, right? Every single megabyte of data used. Last month, John used 7 megabytes of data. How much will his cellular data plan cost, before taxes, right? So they're not including taxes here. All right, so I'm going to go bring the scratch pad up. All right, and we'll keep the problem up there a little bit so we can read it. Now, I read through this, and, I'll say John's cost. All right, let's go John's cost. Put that N in there. So that's the thing we're trying to figure out, right? How much will his plan cost, John's plan cost, in this month, right? This last month that was mentioned. Well, John's cost, I'll say it's equal to, set up a little equation. And I read that, the cellular company, Best Cellular, right? They charge $30 automatically, right? So $30 automatic, right? But then on top of that, right, it says the word plus, right? Plus. And then $5 for each megabyte of data used. So that could be a variable, right? Because that can change from month to month. Anything that varies, anything that can change is a variable, right? So I've got this variable here, which I'm going to call data use in megabytes, right? This is in megabytes. And I'll label this instead of writing out the words data use all the time. I'm just going to call this, D for data. So hopefully this makes sense. I got the $30 cost plus $5, right? $5 for every megabyte used. And if D megabytes is used, that's 5 times D for how much you're being charged, John's being charged, right? 5 times D. If D were 1 megabyte, it'd be 5 times 1, $5. If D were 2 megabytes, it'd be 5 times 2, right? $10 being charged, and so on. So let's scroll down here, make this a little more space. So the expression we're using here for John's cost, right? The plan cost for any given month is 30, right? The $30 charged no matter what for the month, plus 5 times the amount of data used, right? $5 per megabyte. And we are told that last month John used, 7 megabytes. So the value I'm going to use for D is 7. And now it becomes just like the first 4 examples I did. I take the expression I've set up for John's, data plan cost in a month and plug in or substitute the value of, 7 megabytes or just 7 for D. So we have $30 plus, and then $5 a piece, for each of those 7 megabytes. And we simplify this expression. What is this value? Right, so this would be $30 plus, and remember we're doing multiplication before addition, so I'm going to do this 5 times 7. All right, so each megabyte's $5. There are 7 of them. That's $35 total. All right, so I've got 30 plus 35 for the total cost that month, and that's a total of, $65, right? And in a lot of word problems, right, you'll have units involved, right? You should be putting your units. Most numbers in a word problem will have units attached to it. So here 65 should have dollars associated with it. But that's it. All right, $65 for John's, cellular plan last month. So I'm going to go up here, enter. I'm going to see if I can just enter 65 without the dollar sign and see what happens. Okay, so they'll take it without the units, it looks like. But I'll say right now, right, if you were ever doing a test or a quiz for a certain instructor, I would recommend, if units are mentioned in the question, put units on your final answer. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do. Like I said, I'm not going to do everything for you. You kind of you come in here, practice on your own until you can gain a mastery level. Go through your 10 exercises and more. Once you've completed the 10. You can keep practicing. You can keep going beyond that. It never ends. I hope this was helpful in evaluating expressions with one or more variable. And thank you very much for watching.